Okay, where are you starting today? I have it.
On base Daled.
What I have. A woman who gave birth many times. If she aborted a female within the 8 days, and then again aborted a female within the 80 days, or if she aborted a multiple birth, Rabbi Yehuda says she brings an offering for the first, but she does not bring for the second. She brings for the third, but she does not bring for the fourth. These being a variable offering for the sin of bearing hearing the voice of adjuration, for uttering an oath or contaminating the temple or its consecrated foods, the woman who has given birth, and the Mitzorah. And what is the difference between the slave woman and the other all forbidden intimacies? She is similar to them neither regarding the punishment nor regarding the offering, for all forbidden intimacies require a katos, but the slave woman an asham. All forbidden intimacies require a female animal, but the slave woman a male. Regarding all forbidden intimacies, both the man and the women are the same regarding lashes or an offering, whereas regarding the slave woman, the Torah did not equate the man to the woman concerning lashes, nor the woman to the man regarding an offering in all forbidden intimacies. The Torah considers a partial union as a complete one, and he is liable for every act of intimacy. With the following stringency, the Torah tells more stringently with the slave, deals more stringently with the slave woman regarding the case. The Torah equated the willful transgression with the inadvertent one. I don't know why you couldn't pick out pictures that would go along with this. I don't understand. Why could that be? Especially in the world. Okay. Which is the slave woman? Anyone who is half slave and half free, as it is stated, and redeemed, she was not redeemed. And these are the words of Rabbi Akiva. And Rabbi Ishmael says, this is she who is a real slave woman. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, all forbidden intimacies are stated explicitly. And what is the exception? We must concede that it is she who is half slave and half free. In all forbidden intimacies, if one was of age and one was a minor, the minor is exempt. If one was awake and one was asleep, the one who was asleep is exempt, and the one who is unintentional, and the one is intentional. The intentional one is liable for a kados, so the intentional one is liable to karos. Okay.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
Just going to tell my wife someone's calling, and I just have to let her know. I'm sorry. Excuse me 1 second, please.
All right. So Gimel Aleph Amru Lo. So people came to a guy and said, "Achalta chelev." So somebody said to him, "You ate forbidden fats. This is got punishment of kares if you did it b'mezid. Maybe chatas." So if he believes them, and they say, "Okay, wow, I didn't realize," then he's chayav to bring a chatas for that. Okay, because that's called a shogeg. Eidomer, and if a witness comes and says, "Achal, yeah, he ate chelev," but Eidomer lo achal, and another witness came and said, "No, he didn't. He ate permitted fats." Okay. Or alternatively, Isha omeres achal, but Isha omeres lo achal. So it doesn't even have to be a kosher witness. It can just be can be a woman, could be a slave. Maybe asham taloi. So in this case, he listens to them and he says, "Look, I don't know. I have no recollection of what I ate. This one says it was definitely chaylev. This one says it was definitely not. That leaves me in a position of safek." Okay, which means that now for a safek on a chet of kares, that's when you bring an asham taloi. It's a suspensive guilt offering for that doubt. Eid omer achal v'hu omer lo achalti patur. If one witness comes and says he ate chaylev, and he says, "I know what I ate and it was not chaylev," then just because it's another aide coming and telling him that he didn't, he doesn't have to believe the guy. If he knows in himself that what he ate was 100% kosher, then a single aide cannot obligate him to bring a korban. Okay. Shnayim omrim achal v'hu omer lo achalti. Now what happens if you got two witnesses? Okay. Now this is gonna get interesting. Two witnesses came and said he ate chaylev. Hu omer lo achalti. What are you talking about? I ate kosher. I know I ate kosher. Rabbi Meir Mechayev, says Rabbi Meir, he has to bring a korban chatas for that. The Chachamim, however, are going to disagree with him. Amar Rabbi Meir, im hebiuhu shnayim lemisa chamura. If you had two witnesses who came and said he was mechalal Shabbos, and he says, I never. You're not going to listen to him. You're going to listen to the two eidim, right? You can execute the guy because of two witnesses. So I mean that it's that machmir. Lo yivienu lo yivuhu lekorban kakal. Are they not able to obligate him in a simple korban chatas? Amru lo, the Chachamim said back to Rabbi Meir, no, my mirte lomar mezid hayisi. He has a migoy. He has a claim that he can say that that if I wanted to, I could have just said I was mazed. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I ate the chaylev and it was deliberate. Then he doesn't get then he doesn't have to bring a korban. So even if he accepts what the witnesses say, he doesn't have to bring the korban. So if he knows in himself that he ate kosher, and these two witnesses are coming and telling him nonsense, and he chooses not to believe them and relies on his own conscience. So he could do that and say, I'm not bringing a korban. And I could have gotten out of it just as easily as if I'd said that I actually, yes, I did, and it was mazid. Okay. Achal chaylev v'chaylev behelem echad. So he ate chaylev and another piece of chaylev again later, before he realized what it was. That's only one chatas that he has to bring once he's informed.
This says he ate 2 portions of Caleb in one lapse of awareness.
Yes, one lapse. Exactly. So he thought this was all permitted, and he ate a kazayas and carried on whatever he was doing, and then ate another kazayas later, and then the witness came and said, I just saw you eat 2 pieces of chaylev. So he only brings one chatas for that, because it's only one helem. A helem is the term that we use for the lapse of awareness. Now what happens if he eats 4 different types of isurim that cause kares? So that's chaylev and blood and left over from a sacrifice, and pigul, which is a separate isur of something that was that had intention to eat after the zman. All in one lapse of awareness. Chayav al kol echad ve'echad. That's 4 chataos he has to bring, because they're 4 separate offenses.
Right.
That is the stringency of having 4 different species over having one species. But there's also stringency of one type. If he eats a half a kazayas of let's say chaylev, so he then later eats another half a zayas of the same of chaylev. Then he has to bring a korban, because now he's eaten a total kazayas. Mishnei minim, however, if he eats half a kazayas of chaylev and then half a kazayas of pigul, he's pater. Okay. The kama yisheh ha'ochlan, and how much time does he have in order to be chayav for eating all these things?
I was going to ask, what's the lapse of time when you say the lapse
of time? Very good. Well, the Mishnah realized that you were going to ask that question.
Yeah.
Okay. Ki'ilu achalan kalayos, divrei Rabbi Meir. So Rabbi Meir says the measure is as if you had eaten basically dry roasted grains. So if you took the amount of if you took dry roasted grains in the same volume and ate them one after the other, so according to him, if the amount of time that is measured from the amount of time that it would take to eat an equal measure of dry grain in that time. Okay, any time more than that, and they don't join. Okay. However, even according to Rabbi Meir, even if he didn't manage in that time, but all the time he's sitting and chewing and eating it all in one sitting, that's still considered as if they join. Now that's a more familiar measure you may have heard before. Kedei achilas pras, the amount of time that it takes to eat a half a loaf of bread. Okay, so this half a loaf of bread is right. We go into this measure of this loaf of bread is made out of where you make 3 loaves out of 1 cup of grain, and the Tanaim have an argument about what is this the size of this loaf. According to Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, it's six eggs, and half of it is therefore 3 eggs. According to Rabbi Shimon, it's 4 eggs, 4 eggs total. And the Rambam paskins like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, so it's 3 eggs. Tachlis, when it comes to we see this kedei achilas pras in a number of different contexts today. For example, the amount of time that you need to eat a kazayas of matzah or a kazayas of bread in the sukkah on the first night. I'm sure you were reminded of that by all the halachic medaktikim in your sukkah that you have to eat, and it's like 9 or 10 minutes, somewhere around there. So you don't have to look like a hamster. Okay. Okay, so that's the kedei achilas pras. Achal ochlin tamein v'shasa mashkin tamein. If he eats tamei foods or drank tamei liquids, okay, shasa revius yain v'nichnas lemikdash v'shaha kedei achilas pras. So now this has made him this has made him personally tamei, and now he goes into the mikdash and stays there. If he stays there for as much time as it takes to eat the achilas pras, that's the same measure to make him chayav for bias mikdash b'tuma. Let me just see something in here. Okay. Rabbi Elazar Omer, im hifsik ba or shenasan esocham mayim kol shehen patur. If he stopped in the middle while he was drinking his revius of wine that was tameh. Okay, so he didn't drink it all in one shot, or he put water into it, so that it's not. Even though he drank a revius in one shot, he's still patur when he comes into the mikdash. This is so when he comes into the mikdash. This is talking about the kohanim who are going to do avoda. Okay. I'm sorry. This is. I'm conflating a bunch of cases over here. Let me just rewind a little bit over here. So when we're talking about achal ochlin tamein v'shasa mashkin tamein, that's talking about that's talking about the shear of how much it takes to make a person tamei from eating non-kosher from eating tamei foods, but drinking wine. That's talking specifically about the kohen who drinks wine, a log of wine inside the amount of time, and went into the mikdash to do the avoda. He's chayav misa b'dei shamayim for doing the avoda while under the influence.
Right.
Okay, so that's SUI, serving under the influence. Okay, so if he's so now Rabbi Elazar is talking about the kohen who is serving under the influence. Right? If he stopped halfway during his drinking of the wine, or he put water into it, any amount, then he is patur from the misa b'dei shamayim for serving because of the break. And Kahati mentions that the halacha is like Rabbi Elazar when he drinks just wine. But if he drinks more than a wine, more than a revius, then even Rabbi Elazar agrees that even if he didn't drink it all in one shot, then more than a revius would still make him chayav for serving under the influence. Okay, and back to Tamura.
Vav Aleph. All animals that are forbidden to be offered on the altar render forbidden other animals in any amount. An animal that sodomized, or an animal that was sodomized, or a designated animal, one that was worshipped, a harlot's wage, a dog's exchange, a hybrid, a treifa, and one delivered through cesarean section. What is a designated animal? One that was designated for idolatrous purposes. It itself is prohibited, but what is upon it is permitted. What is one that was worshipped? Any animal that was worshipped as an idol, and what is upon it is forbidden. Both this and this are permitted to be eaten. What is a harlot's wage? If one says to a harlot, take this lamb for your wage, even if he gives her 100 lambs, they all forbidden. Similarly, if one says to his fellow, take this lamb and let your maidservant spend the night with my slave, Rabbi says it is not a harlot's wage, but the sages say it is a harlot's wage. What is a dog's exchange? If one says to his fellow, take this lamb in exchange for this dog. Similarly, if two partners divided their animals between them, and one took 10 lambs and one took 9 lambs and a dog, the lambs that are taken against the dog are prohibited, while those that are taken with the dogs are permitted. A dog's wage and a harlot's exchange, these are permitted as it is stated 2 and not 4. The offspring of a Sanan and of a Meher Caleb are permitted as it is stated they and not their offspring. Okay. Of course. Hey, Chet Gimel. If one's wife had not previously given birth and she's now gave birth to 2 males, he must give 5 selim to the Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, the father's exempt. If the father died and the sons are alive, Meir says if they gave while they had not yet divided the estate, it is given. But if not, they are exempt. Yehuda says the estate has become liable. And if they gave birth to a male and female, there is nothing here for a Kohen. If 2 wives who had not previously given birth now give birth to 2 males, he must give 10 selim to a Kohen. And if one of them died within 30 days, if he gave them money to one Kohen, he must return 5 selim to him. And if he gave it to 2 Kohen, he cannot exact it from them. If they gave birth to a male and female, or 2 males and a female, he must give 5 selim to a Kohen. If they gave birth to 2 females and a male, or 2 males and 2 females, there is nothing here for a Kohen. If one wife who had previously given birth and one who had not previously given birth now gave birth to 2 males, he must give 5 selim to a Kohen. One of them died within 30 days, the father is exempt. If the father died and the sons are alive, the Meir says that he gave while they had not yet divided the estate, it is given, but if not, they are exempt. But Yehuda says the estate has become liable, and if they give birth to a male and a female, there is nothing here for a Kohen. If 2 wives and 2 men, neither of whom had previously given birth, now gave birth to 2 males, one must each give 5 selim to a Kohen. If one of them have died within 30 days, if they both gave to one Kohen, he must return 5 selim to them. And if he gave to 2, they cannot exact it from them. If they gave birth to a male and female, the fathers are exempt, but the son is required to redeem himself. If they gave birth to 2 females and a male, or 2 males and 2 females, there's nothing here for a Kohen. Okay, test base. The following should not be taken down once they have gone up, that which has become overnight and what has become tameh, or which has been taken out of the courtyard and which has been slaughtered with intent for beyond its time or outside its place, or which disqualified people received, or through its blood. But Yehuda says the offering which was slaughtered at night, or whose blood spilled, or whose blood was taken upon the curtains, if it was taken up, it must be taken down. Reb Shimon says it should not be taken down, for Reb Shimon say any offering whose invalidation is in the holy accepts it. But if its invalidation is not in the holy does not accept it. The following did not leave their invalidations in the holy: an animal that committed an act of bestiality, an animal in which an act of bestiality was performed, an animal that's designated for idolatrous sacrifice, an animal which has been worshipped, a harlot's payment, a dog's exchange, a mixed breed, a treifer, an animal born by cesarean section, and blemished animals. And Rebbe Kiva validates in the case of blemished animals. Rebbe Kananya, the administrator of the Kohanim, says, Father would run away from blemished animals, would turn away from blemished animals from the altar. Just as once they were brought up, they are not taken down. So too, once they were taken down, they may not be brought up. If any of them ascended to the top of the altar while alive, they should be taken down. An ola which ascended to the top of the altar while alive should be taken down. And if he slaughtered at the top of the altar, he may skin and dismember it in its place.
Must. That's the penalty for doing something dumb like that, is that you get to skin it on top of the altar. That's can't be easy.
It says he may in mine. That's interesting. He may. It doesn't say must.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. To take a look at the commentary over there and tell me if they say that he's allowed to take it off the mizbeach, because I thought the whole point is that you're not allowed to take it off the mizbeach once it's gone up.
Yeah, I'm looking now to see. He may. Although an ola is burnt entirely, its hide must first be removed and its carcass cut up. For Leviticus, the hide itself is not burned, but is given to the Kohanim. The performance of these tasks atop the altar is not considered like a dishonor to the sanctity of the altar. The same ruling would apply to an olah which was slaughtered on the floor of the courtyard and then brought up to the altar before being skinned and cut up. Rashi clearly implies that the Mishna means to say that one may skin and dissect the olah atop the altar, but one need not do so. Our Hashemah says, assume that one must skin and dissect atop the altar on olah which has been slaughtered there. And explicitly, they do not refer to Rashi.
Interesting. So it's a machlokes rishonim about whether it's may or must, and that means very different things.
Right.
Right. Because in one, if you're saying you may, it means there was a thought that maybe you shouldn't maybe you shouldn't be allowed to.
Right. Right.
But when you say you must, there's a thought that you
no choice.
Yeah. You have no choice. Yeah.
Okay. Dollar test. If he gave it over to an unpaid guardian, to a borrower, to a paid guardian, or to a renter, the latter is responsible in lieu of the owner. For muad, he pays the full damages. For a tam, and he pays half the damages. If a bull gores a cow and its fetus is found at its side and does not know whether it gave birth,
I think you skipped.
I skipped.
Yeah, you're already onto the next parak.
I'm sorry. I was continuing test dollar, a dollar test. If an owner tied it with a rein and locked the stall before it properly, and it went out and damaged whether it's a tam or muad, it is liable. These are the words of Meir. But Yehuda says the owner of a tam is liable, the owner of a muad is exempt, as it is said, and its owner does not watch it, and this one is watched. If Elias says no guarding, it is sufficient except for knife. If a bull gores a cow and its fetus is found on its side and does not know whether it gave birth before it was gored or whether it gave birth after it was gored, the owner of the bull pays for half the damages done to the cow and 1/4 for the damage done to the young. Likewise, if a cow gores a bull and its young is found at its side and does not know whether it gored before it gave birth or whether it gored after it gave birth, the owner of the cow pays half the damages from the cow or the 1/4 for the damages from the young. If a potter brings his pots to another yard without permission and the other person's animal breaks them, he is exempt. If it is injured by them, the owner of the pots is liable. If he brings them in with permission, the owner of the yard is liable. If one brings his produce into another's yard without permission and the other person's animal eats them, he's exempt. If it is injured by them, the owner of the produce is liable. And if he brings them in with permission, the owner of the yard is liable.
Hey. Eruvin.
Hey. If one resident of the outer forgot to contribute to the erev, the inner is permitted while the outer is prohibited. If one from the inner one of the inner forgot, both are prohibited. If they placed the erev in one place, or one resident of either the inner or the outer forgot to contribute to the erev, both are prohibited. But if they inhabited by individuals, they need not make an erev. A window between two courtyards, if it is 4 by 4 fists within 10, they may make 2 erevim. If they wish, they may make 1 erev. Less than 4 by 4 is higher than 10, they make 2 erevim, but they may not make 1. If a wall between courtyards is 10 fists high and 4 wide, they may make 2 erevim, but they may not make 1 erevim. If there was fruit on top of it, these ascend from here and eat. These ascend from here and eat. And those ascend from there and eat, provided they do not bring down. If the wall was breached up to 10 cubits, they may make 2 erevim, or if they wish 1, because it is like an entrance greater than that, they make 1 erev, but they may not make 2.
And mikvos.
The following knots do not require the water should enter into them. Knots of a poor man's clothing, or fringes of a sandal thong, of a tefillah of the head, tefillah of the head, it is tight, of a tefillah. They mean tefillin, don't they?
Tefillin, yes, but each individual box is called a tefillah. Tefillin is plural.
I didn't realize that. Okay. If the other head, it is tight. Of a tefillah of the arm, it does not move up or down. If a water skin lug, it is of a pouch log. But if they are immersed when dry, they must immerse until they produce bubbles and cease bubbling. But why would someone go into a mikvah with the tefillin on?
Well, because if the tefillin became tameh, so you need to say if tefillin become tameh, they also need to go to mikvah to become tahor.
What about the parshas though?
Yeah, good question. Do it quickly. I mean, it should be properly sealed.
Right.
but yeah, I also thought about that as like, what if it's not so properly sealed, and then like you ruin the parasha inside it. I guess what you could do is unstitch them, take the parashios out, tovel it, let it dry, put the parashios back in.
So the portions wouldn't be considered tummy. It's just the bottom that would be.
I don't think yeah, parchment can't become tameh. It's not a kli.
Right. Yeah. All handles of utensils that are too long.
Although saying that, we know that there's a gezerah on kisvei kodesh that they're matame yadayim, that they when you touch them your hands become tame. But that was just that so that people wouldn't store their truma along with their along with their kodesh, because it brought mice and that.
Right. We had that Mishna, right. All handles of utensils that are too long and will be cut short need only to be immersed up into the prescribed length. The Yehuda says only if it is completely immersed. The prescribed length for the chain of a large bucket is 4 handbreadths. For the chain of a small bucket, 10 handbreadths. They need be immersed only up to the prescribed lengths. The Tafrin says only if the link is completely immersed. The string tied to a basket is not considered a combination unless it is sewn on. But Shammai says we may not immerse in hot water.
Oh, no, you're overshooting there. Okay, that's it. We're done for today.
Okay.
Tomorrow we finish mikvahs, and the next day we're starting nida.
Nida, okay. And what do you any plans for tomorrow for you?
I'm off. So hang on. But I've got gym, so I'll go to the early minyan.
Okay, so we can start at
we can start like 7:45ish, maybe a little touch later.
Okay, all right, great.
Okay.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Good morning.